You are now tuned in to Go Time Dolphins with Charlie Touche and Kadeem Simmons, the Miami Dolphins podcast that's for the fans and by the fans.
Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's show time. Going all out when it's go time. Go. I ain't wasting no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's show time. Cause it's your time. Lay it on the line when it's go time. Go. Don't waste no time.
Charlie. This time next week, we, and I do mean we, will be in Hard Rock Stadium watching our Miami Dolphins against the Jacksonville Jaguars. I cannot wait. It's insane to think we are only 7 days away from the start of the 2024 NFL season, which means we are also days away, if you haven't already, days away from your draft fantasy. Your fantasy draft fantasy. Anyway, so we are here to help you with all of that. I am not the fantasy expert, but I think I know a bit. I know a bit. So to help us through that, as I said, Charlie Touche, how are you?
The way you fumbled over that fantasy thing you just did, bro, like fantasy draft and draft fantasy, I think those are definitely two different things. Because if I had a draft fantasy, I don't know if we'd be able to air it. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's a draft fantasy? You feel me? So fantasy football draft coming up, putting the leagues together still. But y'all know what time it is. It's Go Time Dolphins, the Miami Dolphins podcast that goes not only across the pond, but across the world. I'm your boy, Charlie Touche. Got my co-host, Kadeem Simmons, with me. It's always for the fans and by the fans. Your favorite podcast, and official affiliates of Fanatics, where you could be a fanatic of your favorite franchise. Kadeem, we got a guest. Help us out with some fantasy football stuff. And it's funny. We're just going to introduce the guest because I would like to share some things with him. But let's bring in the average white guy. Story, what's up, bro?
What's up, fellas?
Hey, so when you just came on, I told you didn't know what the episode. I hit your phone like, hey, bro, can you jump on the podcast with us Sunday? And you're like, yeah, let me see what's going on. I'll probably be there around 11 or whatever. You didn't know what the podcast was about until like 30 seconds ago when I said, oh, we're going to be talking about fantasy football.
Shooting from the hip.
Bro, that's a friend right there, bro. Just come on the podcast and just go with me, bro.
I'm right with you.
Can I just say, yeah, if you was a better friend, you would have given him a heads up. He could have come in like by the way, I've made a list of all these things here. I'm just saying, you threw him under the bus, and because he's a good friend, he didn't say anything. But if that was me, I'd be like, yo, don't do me like that.
I did not throw him under the bus because I know all my friends could adapt and adjust. You know what I'm saying? Because I know, like, yo, hey, I got soldiers. You feel me? We could do this, bro. Hey, I forgot how you got the name Average White Guy. How did that happen? Well, I know we had an episode and it was like, yo, let's ask the average white guy's opinion.
So first, I want to be the average white guy, like the Ohio State University. But I think it was around the time where I don't remember who tweeted it out. Someone tweeted out about having the Pro Bowl be a racial.
Yes.
It was a biracial Pro Bowl. That's what it was. And a multiracial team and a biracial team and a white team versus a black team. And that's what it was. Bro, I ain't even gonna lie. We got the adjustment for you. The average white guy. I ain't gonna lie, bro. I was like, yo, I'm not feeling that name no more. And then you just, because I didn't remember where it came from. And then you just said out like, oh yeah. As long as we bring it up how you got it, I guess I'm okay with it. So story, you got something for us, Kadeem? You about to say something?
We are live over on YouTube. Shout out to Robert Ashton. He says, what's up, guys? Shout out to Manolo Rivera. He says hello, as does the great Fins fan, says yo. Welcome, guys, and all of you to the live episode. If you aren't catching us live, you're watching or listening after on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcast from. Drop a like on the video, leave a comment, and say what's up. Also, subscribe to the channel. We are well on our way to 3,000 subs over on YouTube.
The fantasy football episode, man. I thought I'd get some fantasy football advice from a champion. You know what I'm saying? 3-time champion, Story, the average white guy. He's in my league, Kadeem, and we've had this league. This is our 9th season, Story, and you won the league 3 times. You had a dynasty of all dynasties. But I ain't gonna lie, bro. It's been a while since you won the championship. What's going on?
So I heard championship. I had to get my belt out. So just continue.
I've just been in a rebuilding situation. You know, I want to get some good picks. We'll be back on top, though. I'm not worried. We've been close a couple times, made the playoffs a couple times. Last year was not my year, but
what happened last year?
We don't live in the past. I think it took me till about week 14 to get my first win last year.
Ouch.
It was a bad year. Worst season probably of my fantasy career in any league.
It took him week 14 to get his first win, but it's only 13 weeks in the regular season, so y'all do the math. Look, man, Kadeem, we're gonna be breaking. So this episode is really fantasy football 101. We're not gonna go in depth about the extracurricular, over the top fantasy football strategies and stuff that we could do, but we wanted to break it down because we're having a beginners league for Go Time Dolphins. And we're having a veterans league for Go Time Dolphins. So we wanted to just get the beginner advice and the basic information and basic strategy for winning a fantasy football league. And between me and Story, we have 4 championships in 9 seasons. So we might be able to help a couple people out. And Kadeem, you can jump in whenever you want. But Story, I got something for you. Terminologies like zero RB, hero RB, bully ball, ADP, stuff like that. What does ADP have to do with anything? Average draft position. What does that have to do with fantasy football vernacular?
So basically, that is just where the guy's being taken on average in a fantasy football draft. So if his ADP is 7. That means he's on average getting selected 7th overall.
All right, cool. So when it comes down to a strategy, there's different strategies, right? How we're gonna how we're gonna build this team, where we're drafted in the draft. And by the way, it's PPR fantasy football. Every fantasy football league we do here on Go Time Dolphins is on the ESPN platform, and it's PPR. What is PPR? Story?
Points per reception. So each reception is worth 1 point.
And what's the difference between points per reception and a standard fantasy football league?
So standard, you get 0 points per reception. It's just you get points for yardage, touchdowns. But the points per reception kind of makes the receivers more valuable, makes the running backs who catch the ball more valuable. You can have a third down running back that's actually scores more points than the starting running back or the early down running back because of their receptions.
So if I'm in a basic standard league and I have and I'm drafting a running back, I would want someone like Jonathan Taylor who might not get too many receptions and he might get more touchdowns. And if I'm in a PPR league, I might want someone like Alvin Kamara because he's going to receive he's going to get about 20 targets of receptions or passes, and those could turn into points per reception, right?
Yeah, correct. So I mean, like a standard league, my big example would be like Derrick Henry.
Yeah. Right.
Like all Derrick Henry does is run. He catches maybe 1 or 2 screen passes a year. PPR, I'm targeting guys like for real, like Kamara, who he could catch 10 passes in 1 game. That's going to add value to him for sure. Boost him up the draft boards in a PPR league versus a standard league.
So Kadeem, we all know, I know from experience, you're not the best fantasy football player. What do you think it is? I'm just saying, we got to be transparent for the people. You know what I'm saying? So what is it that you feel like, I want to learn this part of fantasy football because I want to be a better player? What is that? Or what are some of the questions you have? Like, what are you looking for as a beginner fantasy football player?
So again, first off, if you're not watching on YouTube, I am here with my championship belt because I'm a champion. First, listen, act the way you want to be treated. I want to be treated like a champion, so I'm act like a champion. It's that simple. Call me champ. End of. Chat to Robert Ashton says, I'm having that belt off you, Kadeem. No, you are not. This is staying in my house. Also, if you are in the chat and you have any questions, then yeah, now be the time to drop them because we have, I guess, 2 champions, but only one of us has the belt, first and foremost. But I guess the big question is normally, you know, when do you draft a quarterback? Because that's the one which seems, I think, to trip up everyone. I know some people like to go early so they can get like a Lamar Jackson or a Patrick Mahomes, but I know so many other people essentially go for, the wide receiver, the running back. So when is your, I guess, ideal time to pick a quarterback? And I take it Lamar Jackson will be the best quarterback in fantasy.
So for me, and I'm gonna ask Story not to reveal my draft from our league because I'm gonna be playing in the Go Time Dolphins league, and I got some tricks up my sleeve for it. So if you cannot reveal my draft, I'd appreciate you. So for the most part, I think in fantasy football, Kadeem, you want a running quarterback, a quarterback that could do multiple things. So the Tuas of the world for us Dolphin fans, Tua could come out and throw 4 touchdowns and look really good, throw 300 yards, and it still only come out to like 28 points, right? But if Lamar Jackson comes out, Lamar Jackson, Jaden Daniels, the rookie, who else we got? Kyler Murray, the Kyler Murrays of the world. You got a rushing quarterback who can throw 300 yards, throw for 3 touchdowns, run for 2 touchdowns, and also gain 70 yards on the floor. He's going to end up with like 40 points instead of the 20-something points that Tua did. So the points you get for a passing touchdown is 4 points. That's typical, 4 points. The points you get for a running touchdown is 6 points. So if you have a quarterback that rushes for touchdowns, Josh Allen, i.e., the Josh Allens of the world go first, first amongst quarterbacks. Now it's up to your strategy and how many teams are in the league before you determine when you want to go quarterback. If you have a 10-team league, I would say quarterback will be you have options at quarterback. It's not like someone's going to suck up all the quarterbacks and you're not going to have anything late. So you don't have to be the first team to go quarterback. But if you're in love with quarterback, then you, in my opinion, the 4th round is when it can begin, the quarterback run. But what happens is the quarterback run begins, and before you get to come back and pick, a lot of quarterbacks might be gone, right? So you could dictate when it happens, when the quarterback run happens. But for my strategy in particular, it depends on how much I'm on someone. Last year, I didn't go quarterback till real late. This year, I went quarterback after the quarterback run. 2 years ago, I went first. I wanted to be first one on Kyler Murray. So it really just feels like how you could build a team. And I think what people should do is just mock from different spots, see where you want to pick. You can't determine where you pick, but at the same time, you get to feel like, you know what, how do I want to build my roster? Do I want to go quarterback first? Never go quarterback first. Do I want to go like running back? Do I want to go receiver, running back? Do I want to go receiver, and then find a quarterback? That's where I'm at with it. Maybe Story got some better advice for you.
No, so I mean, like, depending on how many teams are in your league, in a 10-team league, I'm not worried about quarterback, right? There's probably 15 guys that I'd be happy to have as my starter in a 10-team league. So like a lot of times I'm one of the last people to grab a quarterback. Now, if something crazy happens and nobody's taking quarterback and Josh Allen's there in the 5th round, something like that, Mahomes in the 6th, whatever, I'll probably snag a quarterback. But for the most part, I'm looking to fill my starting positions up before I even think about taking a quarterback. So I'm looking at probably at least 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, get my flex filled out. I'm waiting on quarterback. I'm not in a big rush this year to get a quarterback. I'm good with probably 15 different guys that you can kind of to see. Like Charlie said, just do some mocks. See where guys are going. See what kind of build you like best. See what quarterbacks you want to target. Just because they're not the best real life quarterback doesn't mean they're not the best fantasy quarterback. Like last year, Justin Fields, right? Like not many people are probably ranking him super high on their list of great quarterbacks that you want on your team, leading your team. But when he breaks a 60-yard touchdown run, that's 12 points. I mean, he's a stud fantasy quarterback when he's a starter, but I don't know how many people are signing up saying I'll trade the farm to get Justin Fields on my actual football team. So remember that too. You don't have to be a great actual football player to be a relevant fantasy guy.
Quick question. So this is from Robert Ashton. He said, suggested online places for research. What metrics to prioritize?
So for me, I'm a podcast person, bro. I got my podcast. I got about 3 podcasts that I tap into. But as an experienced fantasy football player, I come up with my own everything. Like I have my own rankings. You'll go to these platforms. You'll play on ESPN. You'll play on Yahoo. You'll play on different platforms, and you'll see different rankings. Like, oh, I could get Alvin Kamara around 19 here, but I could get Alvin Kamara around 26 here, and then Alvin Kamara is in the top 15 over here, right? For me, bro, I got it bad, y'all boys. I'm like, this is me. This is the closest I ever be to a GM. Next season, bro, I'm gonna get an actual board and rank the players and put them. Like, I'm gonna have a whole war room for my fantasy league. I'm gonna have a little documentary too. You know what I'm saying? So, I have my own rankings. Matter of fact, I was gonna send Story a picture. I took a picture of my rankings. I was at work, and I was just writing them out like 1 through 50, and I didn't want to send it to nobody until after the draft, obviously. So, and where my rankings came in at, I was just under the impression, these boys aren't going to be here when I draft, and you get lucky and some people fall to you. So, but at the same time, I think you just gotta listen to what the experts are saying. Like if they're experts, imagine this: we're talking about fake football, fake teams, and people have real jobs to talk about fake football. I imagine they might be pretty good at what they do. So listen to the experts, listen to a couple of them, and then come up with your own decision. And then once you get a little more experience under your belt, well, Kadeem, you don't have a belt. You have a wrestling belt, but you don't have a fantasy football belt. So once you get a little experience under your belt, then you could, you could branch off and create your own strategy. Like, for example, I think it was typical back in the day for people to go RB, running back, right? Because it was standard. It wasn't even PPR. People just went bully ball, right? Bully running back status. They go 3 running backs because running backs not only rush, but they score more touchdowns, or they score touchdowns inside the 5 or something. Nowadays, you got points per receptions, and now people want the high-end receiver where they get a lot of targets, a lot of receiving yards, and touchdowns, right? So for me and my dollar, I like to go 3 receivers off the bat. Unless I get a running back here where it's like, oh, you know what? I couldn't pass up on this running back. So I would prefer to go big time receiver, and drive up the ceiling, and which is another terminology in fantasy football, the floor and the ceiling. You want to talk about floor and ceilings, Story?
Yeah, so the floor is going to be basically what worst case scenario, right? Your guy like Garrett Wilson last year, right? Floor, Aaron Rodgers gets hurt. He's dependent on Zach Wilson to get him the ball. Not great, okay? But his ceiling, if Rodgers played last year, his ceiling, he could have been a top 5, top 3 type receiver with Aaron Rodgers throwing him the ball. So floor, baseline, worst case scenario, ceiling, top tier, best case scenario of what potential outcomes could be.
So, for example, in Dolphins terms, Jalen Waddle's floor in fantasy football is probably around 10 to 12 points a game-ish, right? Give or take. His ceiling per week could come out to like 30 points a game, right? So you want someone who's going to give you a pretty high floor and a pretty high ceiling. If you got someone like we'll just say keeping on Miami Dolphins, Jalen Wright, he's a rookie, his floor minimal. Like it's probably gonna be, he probably ain't even gonna touch the ball in some games, right? So you don't really want to take just because you see talent, like, oh, this dude's gonna be good. Listen, you'd be surprised how many times we will see players like, yo, this dude is a dude, and then he don't even play because the team doesn't prioritize him. So it's not about how good someone is in real life or what we think they're going to do. It's about fantasy football and building your team the right way, Kadeem.
Greatly appreciated. The Great Fins fan, this is more for Go Time Dolphins. He said, did you guys have the draft already? No, we haven't. We were literally speaking off air, making sure that the people basically finding out where people are based in the leagues. The last thing we want to do is have the drafts at like 11 p.m. UK time if everyone is in the UK. There's no point. Or, having it at I can't even think of the US. Yeah, having like 6 p.m. UK time because we think there's more UK people in the league when actually it's all US based, and that's like midday, 1 o'clock for them. So we haven't had the draft already. If you sent us an email, you haven't missed out on anything. We have your name down on the list. We will get the invitations out ASAP. Robert Ashton said we need a Touche Fantasy 24. I feel like if Charlie wasn't drafting himself, he probably would do that. I don't think Charlie wants to give away any of these tips.
I would not.
And then Michael Chap says, "Can I give y'all my 12 team per team, and you tell me how I did?" So he's got Brock Purdy. I assume there will be others. So yeah, Michael, if you do have a team and you want us to, okay. So here's my next question.
Great start to the team.
Brock Purdy. Why are you shaking, Charlie? Why are you shaking your head at someone like Brock Purdy?
I was shaking my head at Story because he has a San Francisco 49ers shirt on. And for all the audio listeners who aren't watching on YouTube, Story is my boy. We've known each other for 9 years. Like that's how we started the league. We started the league together. He's a San Francisco 49er fan. So whenever the Dolphins play the 49ers, that text thread gets interesting. He's a Niners fan, and then whenever the Niners lose the Super Bowl, I try not to, hit him up like that. You know what I'm saying? Because we haven't.
Oh, that was cool. Don't remind me.
Yeah. So, but yeah, man. So, well, yeah, I don't. Where's the rest of his team at? He said he got Brock Purdy.
He hasn't said anything else. The Great Fins fan. Yes, we got your email. We aren't ignoring anyone. It's just with work and yeah, we got your email. We know you're interested, so greatly appreciate the email first and foremost. And two, we will get back to you as soon as possible in terms of draft date and time. Robert Ashton says 49ers, well, no one's perfect. Greatly, I 100% agree. We can't all be Dolphin fans. Brad McCoy asked, should I trade Kamara and Jamo for Zamir White and Devonta Smith? Story, what do you think?
I'm probably going to. Yeah, I probably would. I think PPR or not, Zamir White, I think is going to be, he's going to get a lot of touches with Vegas, and I assume that's Jameson Williams. Devonta Smith has got a much higher. He's much more valuable, I think, than Jameson Williams. So I think the difference between the two, the gap from Kamara to Zamir White is smaller than the gap from Jameson Williams to Devonta Smith.
So what side of the trade
would do that? I would probably take the Zamir White, Devonta Smith side of that deal.
That's funny because I'm taking the Kamara side of the deal. And this is where you get, your differences. Me and Story, like we've gone through millions of trades, like talk. And Story wants to be on the side of less players, and I'm like, yo, I don't mind having multiple players coming back in a trade, right? If someone says, and I'll give you an example. If someone says, I was about to spoil something, boy. I was about to spoil something. No, like because I'm working on a trade right now in my league, but if someone said something like CMC for let's say Josh Jacobs, Waddle, and Kyle Pitts, right? Depending on what your team looks like, what your needs are, I would like to be on the side of that Waddle, Jacobs, and Kyle Pitts because it's just I feel like Waddle might not give me what CMC can, and Jacobs might not give me what CMC can. But if I have a need in one of those positions, now I have the need covered and I have more depth to come along with it. But at the same time, I could understand if someone, and I'll give you, I was going to give everybody my team. Hold on, Kadeem. I was going to give everybody my team. But the way my team looks right now, and without spoiling anything, because I'm going to draft some of these players, but the way that my team looks like right now, it's super boom or bust. What does boom or bust mean? It kind of sounds, it means what it sounds like. So boom or bust, if for example, a boom or bust player is someone that could give you 40 points or give you 4 points. Like, dang, bro. Like, I really needed them 40 points. Tyler Lockett. What's Lockett name?
Tyler Lockett, yeah.
Tyler Lockett, right? I was going to say Skyler. But Tyler Lockett, bro. I traded for Tyler Lockett. This is a true story. I traded for Tyler Lockett, and I was down 40 points in a week. And this man gave me like 41, and I won that week. Boom or bust player. He might come out with 40, and he might come out with just 4. So that's a boom or bust player. My team this season looks nothing like any of my previous teams. I like to have depth. I like to be like real even across the season because people are going to get hurt. But this year, it's all super boom or busty. Like I'm either going to beat people by 100 points this year, or I'm going to lose by 100 points. So with this trade in particular, I really do like Kamara this year. Spoiler alert. I think he's going to get off, and I also think he's going to be like a top 7 running back. So I want to be on the side of Kamara for sure. You about to say something, Kadeem?
Yeah, so there's a few more comments. The Great Finns fan says Lockett is a bust player after Russell Wilson left. Brad did follow up by saying his other running backs are Saquon, Ford, Chubb, Chase, Brown, and wideouts are Amon-Ra St. Brown, Waddle, and Amari Cooper. Not quite sure what that does to his initial question, but does it do anything for you, Story?
So me and Charlie are done drafting together, so I'm a big Amon-Ra fan going into this year. I think he's going to be huge and put up some big numbers. Waddle, obviously, you guys are familiar with that and know what he's capable of. So he's going to be good. And Amari Cooper, I think he's sneaky, right? Like people are kind of underrating him. I think people think he's getting kind of up there in age. He's with Deshaun Watson, whatever. But I had him on 1 or 2 of my teams last year, and he's just a starter, right? Like put him in, don't have to worry about it. He's very consistent. He's not a boom or bust player. Like he's going to get you his points, and it is what it is. What were those running backs again? Can you put that one back up there?
Yeah, of course. Saquon, Ford, Chubb, Chase, Brown.
So Saquon, obviously, he's talented. It'll be interesting to see what he does in Philly under a team that actually kind of knows what they're doing rather than in New York with the Giants. Ford and Chubb, right? So you've got the Browns backfield pretty much locked up. I think Jerome Ford's going to be good to start the year, obviously with Chubb out. I think he's even going to have some kind of role when Chubb gets back. So that could be nice. And then Chase Brown, obviously not a starter right away, but he could find his way into a position where he's getting some carries down the road. So I think that's a pretty solid team, actually.
Go ahead.
So shout out to Captain Joking, says huge fan of the show, already a sub. What do you guys think of Saquon being on the best O-line in the league? RB1 potential. Charlie.
So story, bro. We always, every single season, we have this conversation where we can't really talk to. It's almost like me and Kadeem. Me and Kadeem don't talk to each other unless we come on a podcast and talk Dolphins because we want to keep it exclusive for and keep it organic for Dolphins talk so everyone can hear our thoughts. With me and you, we don't talk fantasy football because we haven't drafted yet in our own draft, and then we don't want to snipe each other. We don't want to tip our picks, right? So I'm like, this is perfect. I'll just bring Story on the podcast and we could talk about everything we wanted to talk about on the podcast, right? So since they brought up Saquon Barkley, we'll go through just, what our thoughts were that we didn't share prior to our draft. And I got some players for you too that we'll talk about. And maybe I seen someone ask about Josh Jacobs. We'll touch on Josh Jacobs too. But Barkley, for me, there's a lot of mouths to feed in Philadelphia. There's Smitty, there's AJ Brown. He's going to cry for touches. There's Barkley. Jalen Hurts is going to sneak stuff in the end zone if Barkley doesn't get in. So are the Eagles going to say, you know what, we don't want to run our quarterback like that? Kelsey's gone. Let's give Barkley the ball more inside the 5. We don't know. I imagine that's the plan, but at the same time, their O-line is not as good as what it was when they went to the Super Bowl, just to be clear. That being said, I love Barkley. I just don't love him this season. That's all I got, right? So given the opportunity, which I had the opportunity to draft Barkley, I did not. I went another direction, and I just think I need something for to be picking for Barkley to go ADP, average draft position, for his ADP to be 11, 12. I need something more safe with the 11th pick of the draft. To me, Barkley is not as safe as what's the receiver name that's going down there? Drawing a blank right now, but he's not as safe as AJ Brown, a teammate, right? And even AJ Brown and Barkley share the same concerns, but I think AJ Brown is safer than Saquon Barkley. That's just my opinion. What you got on Josh Jacobs, Story?
Josh Jacobs. So I do a lot of my fantasy. You said you do podcasts and stuff for your fantasy stuff. I actually have satellite radio. So anybody that has satellite radio, there is a specific channel for fantasy football. It's like a fantasy sports channel. So anytime I'm in the car, driving to work, driving home from work, road trips, taking the kids, whatever, that's what channel's on this time of year, right? I don't listen to music. Like, it's fantasy talk all the time. So one of the experts was talking about their blocking scheme, and he wanted to see like kind of what the Packers did and if it fit with Josh Jacobs. And take it for what it's worth, right? Like, maybe he knows what he's talking about, maybe he doesn't, but most of the time those guys, like you said, they get paid to look at fantasy football and talk about fantasy football. He was not a fan of Josh Jacobs on the Packers. So I am kind of staying away from Josh Jacobs, not just because of that, but I think the Packers, with the receivers that they have, with Jordan Love, the way he finished the season last year, I think they're going to look to continue that. I don't know how much running they're going to do. Part of that could be last year too. I did have Aaron Jones on a couple of my teams. He was injured for a lot of the year, but he kind of snake bit me. Didn't produce like I thought he would. So I don't know if I'm shy on the Packers running backs, but I'm not. I'm going to let someone else draft Josh Jacobs. I'm fine with other running backs.
So
before I'm Josh Jacobs.
How about this? Let me draft Josh Jacobs. And it's funny that this is like not only the third or fourth disagreement me and Story have. This is what our league looks like. Everybody has their own opinion, and then there's only one champion. So my opinion. So this is just for a beginner fantasy football player or an experienced fantasy football player. This is something that I take into consideration. This dude just got a contract. You don't pay players $12 million a season to not give them the ball, to not give them opportunity. So on the other side of the spectrum that Story just landed on, I like Josh Jacobs because his contract, and it's funny because Kadeem, you know me and how we talk on this podcast about contracts and what the guarantee money is and when you can find it out. Josh Jacobs' contract is for like 4 seasons, but only the first year is guaranteed. So if he wets the bed this year, they're letting him go next year. So Josh Jacobs is now incentivized to ball out this season. And if he doesn't, who knows what his contract would be next year or what team he'll be playing on next year. Behind Josh Jacobs, ironically, AJ Dillon's out for the season, and the rookie that they just drafted in Marshawn Lloyd, I think his name is, he's hurt. He got hurt. Now he might not be available for a week, maybe, or two. So he's going to be back. It's not a long-term injury. They're not putting him on IR. But it means Josh Jacobs has the chance for the at least first 3 weeks to have at it, have a ball, and just run and score. And I need as much Josh Jacobs as I can get on my fantasy football team, if I'm being real with you. And now you have two different opinions, and I'm pretty sure whoever heard it, they both make sense, but at the same time, only one of us could be right.
Cool. There's a question from Dr. Clutch, but did you want to head into bonus time, Charlie?
No, I got something else for story actually. So Tank Dell, Nico Collins, and Stephon Diggs, all on the same team. Joe Mixon's over there. Can't remember who the tight end, but I thought the tight end was somebody, but he probably not.
Dalton Schultz, I think, isn't it?
Dalton Schultz, right? So what are we doing with someone like a Tank Dell or Nico Collins or a Stephon Diggs? What's going to happen with this trio now? What do you do when you're drafting your team?
True, that's a tough one, right? There's three guys who you could. I mean, the range of outcomes is any one of the three could be their top receiver. There is only one football, right? Just like in I'm a big basketball guy, so I relate a lot to basketball. But there's only one ball, right? So Tank Dell isn't scoring 15 touchdowns. Stephon Diggs isn't scoring 15 touchdowns, and Nico Collins isn't scoring 15 touchdowns in the same season, right? I'm gonna guess that one of those three guys is gonna not live up to their ADP in their draft position. Which one? Man, your guess is as good as mine, right? Like, is Diggs the odd man out because he's new, or is Tank Dell the odd man out because he was kind of hurt last year? Nico Collins was kind of a sleeper guy that I had last year marked on a lot of my draft boards. He paid off for me big last year in one of my leagues for sure.
Definitely was not the league that you came in last place in.
No, I wish I would have drafted him in our league. But just, man, with three top flight receivers, like, that's a crapshoot. You know, I could see any one of them leading the team in points, and I could see any one of the three being the lowest scoring of the three. I think though you do want some part of that offense, right? Like, they're going to score points. It's just how much draft capital do you want to give up to have a chance at getting some of those points, right?
So here's where I land on the trio. Nico Collins just got paid. Stephon Diggs, I think he's only under contract for one season. I could be wrong about that, but I think he's only under contract for one season. And then Tank Dell, and here's the funny thing. Remember, I told y'all boys I got it bad, bro. I got it really bad, and I work 72 hours a week, so I couldn't even do what I wanted to do this offseason. But you know how there's a Hard Knocks and an off-season Hard Knocks and in-season Hard Knocks, and some teams have their own type of rendition of their own Hard Knocks for the offseason, like the Carolina Panthers, the Jets. The Paper Planes, the Cardinals. All of them have their little in home edition of follow the team around, follow the players around, right? And bro, one season I watched one of them, like the Lions, and it gave me a little tidbit. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna use that. I'm pretty sure no one knows that. And then it was a wildfire. It spread to, like, now I'm watching. If a team has it, I'm watching all the teams, and I'm getting all the tidbits I can, not only for fantasy football, but for sports betting as well, right? So I'm like, oh yeah, I know this person's gonna do this because they said they want this person to do X, Y, Z. I can't imagine that you trade for someone like Diggs, give up assets, and then have him upset that he's the third receiver on the team. I don't know that happens. Nico Collins is happy he just got paid. And then CJ Stroud said if he could build a team, and he said that the players on his team, it was like, yo, I would have Calvin Johnson, and I'll have Moss, and I have this person and that person. And he also said Tank Dell, bro. Like, yeah, he's a teammate, but it's like, bro, you can see the chemistry that Tank Dell has with CJ Stroud. And Tank Dell isn't going to the wayside, bro. He's a legit thing. So at cost, when we're talking about cost, ADP, average draft position, Tank Dell is the lowest of all three. I need to be in on Tank Dell. Spoiler alert, I wet the bed. I did 200 mocks. Tank Dell fell to me and I didn't take him. And I look at my roster now and I get upset where I see where I wet the bed not taking Tank Dell. So
I'm smiling because I know the player you took instead of Tank Dell, and it makes me smile every time I think about it.
Bro, it's the worst. It is the worst fantasy football move I've ever made in my life. It happened in our league where it's like not only is it a competitive league, it's a lot of money involved in our league, like a lot of money. So I need to have Tank Dell on my team, and I'm probably going to get sniped in the Go Time Dolphins league, but. Yeah, I like Tank Dell and out of the three because you could get them last out of the receivers. You say you want to go into bonus time, Kadeem?
We can do, yeah. We'll do Dr. Clutch's question this side of bonus time. Before we get to that, Robert Ashton says, not sure about Diggs. Seems like last season he was throwing his toys out of the pram because he wasn't getting what he wanted. If this season doesn't go to plan for him, will he do the same? I think we've kind of seen that already. I think in one of the preseason games, he didn't get the ball when he was angry. And listen, Diggs, it is a 1-year contract, so we'll see how that pans out. And then Dr. Clutch says,
real quick. 1-year contract for Diggs.
Yep.
You want to make him happy. You want him to come back. I just feel like it's going to be Diggs, Tank Dell, Nico Collins, or Tank Dell, Diggs, Nico Collins. It just feels that way. Last but not least on that, if one person gets hurt, the other two are going to shine. So I kind of feel like I want to be in on there somewhere. And if one person goes down, then you win with the other two.
Understandable. And then Dr. Clutch says, what's up, guys? How should I feel about Josh Jacobs and James Cook as my RBs, 10-man PPR? Justin Jefferson and Garrett Wilson are my wide receivers. Story, what'd you make of that?
So you already know how I feel about Josh Jacobs. Right? Will he be good? Yeah, he could be very good. But I'm just not drafting where he's going right now. I do like James Cook. I think Buffalo and their shift to running the ball more. I think that pays off greatly for James Cook, right? I think he's due for a big season, get a lot of touches. Maybe that cuts down on Charlie's boy, Josh Allen, throwing less picks. And then the receivers, man, 2 studs. That's as long as those two stay healthy and their quarterbacks stay healthy, that's a good start for sure.
Well, isn't JJ McCarthy ready out for the season?
Yes, Sam Darnold.
Yes, but I think like me and Charlie have talked about Jefferson, right, and how people are kind of not necessarily out on him, but a little scared of him with Sam Darnold being the quarterback. But we both like the situation he's in. We both like the offensive mind of the head coach, and we both think that they know Jefferson is the guy, right? Like they're going to get him open, they're going to get him the ball, they're going to force feed him. Doesn't matter if I'm throwing him the ball or what. He's going to be open. He's going to get his fair share of stuff. Last year, he was arguably the top pick. Okay, right? Like I would have been happy taking him number 1 overall last year. Would I take him number 1 overall this year? No. Would I, if I'm picking 9th and Jefferson falls to me, am I going to take him instantly, right? There's no question. I would say he's probably 6, 7, 8, somewhere in there. You can make a case for him at any of those spots to draft him there. I'd be happy with Jefferson, no matter who his quarterback is.
Which is basically what Dr. Clutch says. He says, I think Jefferson has performed with any quarterback he's had, even when Cousins missed time in the past years. When he was there at 8, I couldn't pass on him.
So Justin Jefferson is quarterback proof. That's it. He is what Hopkins used to be, quarterback proof. I think there's a couple of receivers we could come up with that are quarterback proof, but Justin Jefferson is quarterback proof. And I trust Kevin O'Connell to get whoever the ball, whoever the one is, he's going to get that person. Jordan Addison was the one last year for a time, and Jordan Addison went off for a little bit. Like Justin Jefferson is going to get a record-breaking amount of targets this season. He's going to break the record for targets this season. I'm in on Justin Jefferson before I'm in on Jamar Chase. Jefferson, I forgot what you just said, Story. I think you said 6 or 7 or 5th or something.
6, 7, 8.
Yeah, I got Justin Jefferson. I'm taking Justin Jefferson as the third receiver off the board, above my dog Amon-Ra St. Brown. So I got CeeDee Lamb, Tyreek Hill, Justin Jefferson. Matter of fact, as of right now, as I just said it, I got CeeDee Lamb, Justin Jefferson, Tyreek Hill. Like, I believe in Justin Jefferson. He's going to get his touches. And yeah, if I had to draft today and Justin Jefferson fell to me over Tyreek Hill, I would take Justin Jefferson. My thing about Garrett Wilson, though, you not snake bitten with Garrett Wilson, Story? Because I know you had him last year. You seen what happened, and yeah, right. But
I had him in 2 leagues last year.
I don't know what's up with the paper planes, bro. Like I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't want to touch. All right, how about this? Aaron Rodgers has to throw the ball to somebody. All right, we understand that. And on the surface, it looks like Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson will be target monsters and probably win you some fantasy football leagues. On the surface, that's what it looks like. And I'm okay with that. And you buy it at cost. You know what I'm saying? Both of them boys are top 10 in fantasy football, so you have to draft them there. For my dollar, I'd rather throw a dart on Mike Williams that I can get in round 14 and just take whatever he gives me because Aaron Rodgers is his quarterback, round 14. And if you need the sleeper of all sleepers for fantasy football, like this dude might win you a league, Malachi Corley. He's a paper planes 3rd round pick, maybe 2nd round pick, and he's a dude. He's like a Debo Samuel, no lie, no, like y'all can look up the dude's highlights. The Jets were super elated to draft him. Draft room erupted when he went there. So Corley might win you a fantasy football league. And I just told that the Story because I didn't pick him up on my roster. So if Story picks him up in our league on his roster, that's creep. But anyway, like my thing with the paper planes, I want value super late because I'm not in on these dudes super high. Because the last time I seen Aaron Rodgers, he wasn't that good in Green Bay. Well, am I tripping? Didn't he win the MVP and then he had a bad season and then he got hurt, right? So the MVP was like 3 years ago, no?
I can double check that.
I don't remember.
Yeah,
I feel like
but either way, I'm not. I can't trust it.
So I'm like you said, I had Garrett Wilson 2 leagues last year, but I was a big Devontae Adams guy when he was with Green Bay. So I know the numbers that Rodgers can give to a wide receiver.
Mm-hmm.
Do I think Rodgers is as good as he was 5 years ago with Devontae Adams? Probably not. But if he's 70% of that, Garrett Wilson's going to have a big, big year.
You brought up a name, Devontae Adams. That's another one. Doesn't have a quarterback, doesn't have a team. What happens this year with him?
So I watched the receiver on Netflix, right? That was great.
Yep.
I was 100% sure he was going to get traded after watching that. Like, that dude was not happy at all. Yeah. He was ready to pack his bags and like just go to the CFL if he had to. But I think right in the situation he's in right now, that the best possible situation happened with Gardner Minshew being named the starter. Do I think Gardner Minshew is a great quarterback and going to set the world on fire? No, but I think Minshew likes to target his top receiver, and I think everybody knows it's Devontae Adams. I think he's going to get a lot of targets. I saw some stat where he had I want to say it was 20 targets in 2 separate games last year. So to get 20 targets in a game, you're bound to produce some numbers. And I think he was almost double-digit targets every game last year. So I don't know. I think he's a high volatility guy, right? Like, depending on how things go, he could have a big year or he could sink your team. Again, that's just how much risk you want involved in your team in a first 2 rounds.
So to bring it full circle, Devontae Adams has a high floor because if he's getting targeted 20 times a game, that means he's at a minimum should come home with double-digit points for you. And his ceiling with 20 targets a game can be who knows what in Vegas. Maybe, I don't know. Like, that's debatable, right? But that floor is super high, and you don't have to draft him high at all. You could get Devontae Adams in some drafts at the top of the third round. So Devontae Adams is a safe pick in my opinion. I actually think he does go off. I wouldn't mind him on my team. But we about to get into bonus time. Yeah, Kadeem?
Yep, all good.
Hey, Story, bro. Appreciate you rocking with us. Come on over to bonus time with us. Like, bro, hey, for anyone who caught the end of the podcast and didn't catch the beginning, I asked my dog to come on the podcast with us. He didn't even know what we were going to be talking about. He just went with it and seen the pitch, hit the pitch, knocked it out the park. You don't got to tip the pitch. You feel me, Kadeem? Like, when you got homies, you just know what people are capable of. You don't got to tell them. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate you. Start, like, we ask people where can they find you, but like, where can they find you, bro?
I am on Twitter, Instagram, but I don't really do much on there, right? Twitter is just more for fantasy stuff, looking at other people, what they're tweeting. I'm not out giving any trade secrets away. So
I guess y'all can find Story on Go Time Dolphins from time to time. Maybe we find a little segment for Story to pop up, you know, from time to time and give us some fantasy football stuff. Maybe we could make that work. I don't know if we could allow the 49ers jersey all the time, though. I don't. That doesn't sit well with me. I don't know.
I'll wear my Dolphin LeBrons one time and flash those on camera.
I like it. See, it works. Or even, you know what? Maybe we can meet in the middle with a Brock Purdy, because Brock Purdy's favorite player was Dan Marino and he wears number 13. So maybe we can make.
That's actually what the shirt is right here.
See, it works.
There we go.
It works. It works. So look, y'all know what time it is. Stay positive. Test negative for Kadeem Simmons and the average white guy. I'm Charlie Touche. Thank you for tuning in this time. Make sure you catch us next time on Go Time. Already.
Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's show time. Going all out when it's go time. I ain't wasting no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's show time. Cause it's your time. Lay it on the line when it's go time. Don't waste no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's show time. Going all out when it's go time. I ain't wasting no time.
As I said at the top of the show, this time next week, we will be well into Miami Dolphins, Jacksonville Jaguars, Week 1, Hard Rock Stadium. I will be there. Charlie Touche will be there. Dolphin UK podcast will be there. I'm looking to do everything and anything before the game, tailgate and all that kind of stuff. So if you're heading to the game and you spot me, come say hi, take a picture. Let's make the most of it. I had a few questions, not too many, but just a few. Story, starting with you. Who's someone you would say to avoid at all costs? Someone who people are like riding really high on. It's like, listen, if you draft this guy, you might as well just stop playing fantasy football because your team isn't doing anything of note.
Oh, good question. Let me pull up a list here. Give me a second. Who you got, Charlie? What's one guy you're?
As the question came in, you know what? I'm gonna be real with you. All right, I got it. Mine is Puka Nacua. I don't understand why people believe Puka Nacua would be the first, the wide receiver 1 for the Rams, when Matt Stafford and Cooper Kupp are like best buds, bruh. These boys are like, they have their own little coffee club. You know what I'm saying? They do their own thing. You know what I'm saying? And Cooper Kupp was hurt, came back, still got like 22 points a game. He wasn't right last year. He was the Triple Crown winner a couple years ago. He didn't just fall off a cliff. The cliff is not here yet. If y'all waiting for Cooper Kupp to fall off the cliff, it has not arrived. So Puka Nacua at cost for me is around Garrett Wilson. Ain't no way Puka Nacua is going to get off and then Cooper Kupp isn't. So for me at cost, I cannot trust Puka Nacua. I believe Cooper Kupp still got it, and he's about to bounce back like Jordan with the 45. You know what that means, Kadeem?
Yeah, when he came out of retirement, and was it the Washington Wizards? And we're just like, yo, you should have just not like.
No. He actually retired and he came back and wore number 45 in Chicago, but then he went back to 23. Yeah. But yeah, so I think Cooper Cup's definitely gonna come back and remind people who he really is.
I mean, I've got like, I don't know that I'm necessarily out on a player, but like, do I want any Patriots player? No. Right? like name a Pat that you, right? And that's not just whatever, right? But like, I don't see the Patriots scoring a lot of points this year, so I can't think of one Patriots player that I'm looking to draft. I'm kind of staying away from that. I'm staying away from the Cowboys running back situation. Yep. Right, like in years past, man, if you had a Cowboys running back, if you had Zeke at his prime, even Pollard last year, right? Like he was going
2 years ago for Pollard. Oh, was that last year?
Last year, yeah. It was
that was last year. Yeah.
You'd have to get him in like one of the first 3 rounds, I think.
Yeah.
And now like Zeke is, he might be a little bit faster than me, but probably not a whole lot faster. Rico Dowdle, he could be a thing, but I think they just signed Dalvin Cook too. So I'm just out on the Cowboys running back situation. I want to stay away from that. I'm not trying to play the guessing game on which running back I'm trying to start. Is there points there? Probably, but that could be a dumpster fire at the running back situation fast in Dallas.
So LB said he's in on Zeke. I'm like, bruh, it's Zeke, bruh. Like he's done. He's grit. And then LB was like, yeah, but he's going back to Dallas and he's going to give him everything he got. And I'm like, yeah, how much is that? How much has he got? You know what I'm saying? He might give it all, but how much is it? So you hit that one on the head, bro. And as far as the Patriots go, the only Patriot that I would even come close to considering is Ramondre Stevenson. And then how many touchdowns is he going to have? Because how many touchdowns are the Patriots going to have?
Well, and I think the Patriots are going to be playing from behind a lot, right? So how many opportunities is it going to be for a rushing touchdown, right? Like if you're down 10, 15 in the third quarter, you're not like, let's stick to the run. You're looking to start throwing it. But I'm just avoiding Patriots. I don't think I've had 3 drafts. I think I have 0 Patriots so far.
And if Drake May's playing, he might vulture some runs from Ramondre Stevenson too.
Yeah, he's actually a decent runner.
Yeah. So who were you? Hey, you know what? I was going to ask you who you were leaning towards, but you don't have to give us your picks because we haven't drafted yet for the podcast. But man, I had another one for you, Story. Like since we didn't get to have our hey, what you think about this and that? Because we don't like to share our picks. But I forgot who the one was. Oh yeah, who your late targets, like round 10, 11, 12 picks that you really like down there. There's a lot of value down there, and actually someone can win you a league down there. Who do you like down there?
So in my deeper leagues, so I'm in a couple 12-team leagues. Mm-hmm. I actually like Jaleel McLaughlin of the Broncos.
Yeah,
he's backing up Javonte Williams, but he had a decent close to the year last year. So I like him. I do like taking some shots at like running backs for rookie running backs late. I've learned my lesson, right? So when I first started fantasy, I draft those guys week 1, 2, 3. They don't do anything, right? They're not mixed in. They don't know the system. They're not getting any points. So I drop them. And then by about week 7, 8, they start coming on and I can't pick them back up. They're on someone else's roster. I'm like, man, I drafted that guy.
Yep.
I've taught myself to be patient and just chill with he didn't do anything for me week 1, week 2. Let me drop him. Sometimes you have to just wait it out before they produce. So another one I like deep is Kamani Vidal of the Chargers.
Yeah.
But I know he's got Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins in front of him, but let's be honest, J.K. Dobbins hasn't been able to stay healthy in the last 4 or 5 years, whatever it's been. And Gus Edwards, he's the Gus bus, right? Like he's ground and pound. He's gonna get you 3 yards of carry, and he needs a lot of volume to produce. So And with Harbaugh, they're going to want to run. Chargers, Harbaugh, he likes to run. So just keep your eyes on Kamani Vidal late.
So my thing is, I gave y'all Mike Williams already with the Jets. The paper planes, right? So you got to pass the ball. You Aaron Rodgers, you're going to pass the ball to somebody. I think Mike Williams is going to be a dude. Malachi Corley is not going to get drafted in your league. If they do, that means if someone drafts Malachi Corley, that means that person listened to Go Time Dolphins, and then you should be like, yo, you sniped me from Malachi Corley because Charlie Touche said to get him. So you can wait on Malachi Corley, but Mike Williams should pay off for you if you're drafting him in the 13th, 12th, 13th round, 11th round too. Some late quarterbacks, if you miss your running quarterback, if you miss Josh Allen, if you miss on Lamar Jackson, if you miss on Kyler Murray, Patrick Mahomes, you're like, I missed the quarterback run. What do I do? You don't have to panic. You don't need the Mahomes of the world because you want the best quarterback in the league. It might not translate to the best quarterback in fantasy football. I was in on Justin Herbert before he got hurt. I believe Justin Herbert runs the ball more this year. They got Greg Roman. Greg Roman was the offensive coordinator for Kaepernick. He was the offensive coordinator for Lamar Jackson. And now he has a dual threat quarterback in Justin Herbert. And I believe Justin Herbert could get off. How hurt is he? We don't know. But I think you're going to see a lot more rushing yards from Justin Herbert. So my initial plan, and this is the truth of all truths. My initial plan was to take Jahmyr Gibbs in the first round, and then take Justin Herbert in the last round. And both of them got hurt, like pretty substantial injuries that I was like, yo, you just scared me away from both of y'all. So that was my plan for both. So take that with a grain of salt. But another quarterback, in my opinion, Jared Goff and Tua. You could pair those two up and you'll be safe at quarterback. You know what? I think Tua's going to get off this week. I think Jared Goff's going to get off this week. Whenever Jared Goff plays in a dome, I'll start Goff. Whenever Jared Goff playing outside, I'll start Tua. Let Tua give me whatever he's going to give me that week. So you don't have to panic on quarterback at all. You could go quarterback last pick of the draft. If Jaden Daniels is there, you can go Jaden Daniels because he's going to give you some running opportunities. Jaden Daniels, OC, is Cliff Kingsbury. Kyler Murray's rookie season, he got up. Well, he was like the 7th quarterback overall under Cliff Kingsbury. So Jaden Daniels is going to give you some running yards too. Kadeem.
I got another one for you too. Wait, Josh Palmer.
Oh yeah, I ain't gonna lie. You can have that one. I was not
probably going to be the number one in
LA. Yeah,
Chargers,
yeah.
Someone's got to catch the ball there. I think
someone has to, bro.
He's going to be sneaky.
So they scare me the way the Patriots scare you, but they're more. I could trust the Chargers way more than I could trust the Patriots. But I feel you. Matter of fact, you might get 2 people out of that receiving core, but you have to. And they're going late too, so you could roll the dice back there, man.
So much to take on board. Quick question: Robert Ashton says, "Is Polk on the Patriots roster?" Believe he is.
Jalen Polk, yeah. So that's one Patriot that I would. I mean, if I'm gonna jump into the Patriot mess, that might be one like last round, second to last round that I just throw a dart on. If he produces, it costs you nothing. If he doesn't, just cut him and move on.
I concur.
And then JML says, "Greeting, fellas. Can't wait for the games." And Hammer says, "What's up?
Hammer time."
So yeah, there was so much to delve into, so much to take on board. I highly recommend you, after you finish listening, you've got this far, go back and start again, make a few notes. Just don't be a creep and snipe player before Charlie Touche, because he doesn't like that.
Yeah. Hey, y'all get y'all mock drafts in too, man. Practice makes perfect. Check your emails for the Go Time Dolphins Fantasy Football League. The drafts might be on Tuesday. I doubt they're tomorrow, but they might be on Tuesday. Hey, Star, you gonna play with us? What's up? Playing our league this year, bro?
I'm always down to be in fantasy. If you need a guy, let me know. I'll join.
That's
you.
what's up. You get the if you're in the beginners league, you get to play with Kadeem. If you're in the vets league, you get to play with me, and then you might see the average white guy in there too.
Can I just say? I was gonna say, yeah, like I sent a message around before the episode, and I think I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think I've got maybe like 8 names for the beginners league, but we're also all in the UK. So it sounds like right now we've got a UK Go Time Dolphins league, which the champ is here.
So are you putting that belt on the line then?
No.
If someone else.
So you're not the champ.
I'm the champ. I'm the champ. Listen, again, to bring it back to wrestling, The Rock has his belt. Stone Cold has his Smoky Skull belt. Listen, sometimes a wrestler just wants the belt, okay? Again, act like a champion, behave like a champion, you will be a champion. That's all I'm saying. I'm acting like a champion so I can be a champion. It's that simple.
So you speaking it into existence is what I'm hearing you say.
Pretty much. Because I also said as well, listen, the controls right here. Madden, college football, listen, I'm game. I'm a champion. So listen, we shall see. Guys, I cannot wait. Next time you see us, I think we're talking betting, I believe. And then we got season previews because we literally have this time next week. I keep on saying it, this time next week. As Robert Ashton says, Kaz said to me, I'd have to pry that belt out of his cold, dead grip. 100%. Yes, you would have to. But Charlie, anything else before we head out of here?
That's all we got.
Average white guy, thank you so much. Anything else before we head out of here?
No, I mean, just, I can't wait, man. Football. I'm ready to sit in my basement for 11 straight hours with 2 TVs on, just loving life, man. I can't wait. Next week, this time, kickoff will be in the early slate. Probably almost at halftime of the early slate, man. I can't wait.
It's going to be amazing. Guys, like we said earlier, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to Go Time Dolphins. And we shall see you on the next one. Peace.